we're going to move to agenda item 11, which is discussion on the Director of Public Safety model we had talked about, and I know there have been some interest or concern or just a need to discuss the current model that we have with a Public Safety Director and no actual police chief, as to whether or not, as we look towards hiring and filling a position to lead that department, as to whether or not we want to continue with the same model that has been there and was created when Director Turner came on board in that job. So, for us to change that, we would need to go through a process of doing that according to Mr. Lee Park, which would be to pass a resolution if you want to change it, etc. So, our first step in that process to either change or not change would be to discuss and see which way council would like to go with that position. So we went ahead because, obviously we want to go ahead and be moving towards a resolution here of that job position. So went ahead and put it on this agenda. And I guess Robert and Jeff Grant will handle that discussion, or lead us at least initially in that discussion. If you could go ahead, please.
Thanks, Mayor. What I've asked Human Resources Director, Mr. Grant, to do is to provide you with a brief background if that's necessary, but then also to show you that organizational chart that we went back to that other version so you have a better feel for what was involved with it. I'm really going to turn it over to Jeff and then we'll go from there. We have to start the conversation, right?
Sure. And it's not a lot. It's really just to kind of preview, kind of get you guys started in terms of discussion on it. So the first thing we'll basically see is the current public safety model. You have the city manager, position vacant. Got deputy city manager. Also put the grades there as well too. We thought that'd be relevant. And you've got a director of public safety, fire chief. You've got a major who's over daily operations of the police. And then the next one you'll have is the police and fire chief model. You've got a city manager, deputy city manager, police chief, fire chief, major under a police chief, and you have a deputy fire chief. This is what a police and fire chief model looks like.
And Jeff, that's what the last iteration, because when they went to the public safety director, there were some other iterations with commanders and other titles, and rather than getting confused on all that, we thought it was the cleanest to go to this one, which is maybe is that what we're saying it should be if we go to that model?
That's correct. That's correct. This is what it potentially would look like if we.
There is no deputy fire chief.
There is a deputy fire chief.
There is also.
That's correct.
You just didn't have one.
That's correct.
So we're really just, in this particular case, we're not adding or subtracting personnel, we're just merely shifting the public safety director to the police chief. Everything else pretty much is.
In essence, that is correct. That's correct.
So police chief, a lower grade than that. Is that a lower grade?
No, actually, when the police chief was, when the public safety director position was instituted, the grade was kept the same. So the police chief was at a grade 26.
Of course, there'd be some budgetary considerations because right now the public safety director is funded half by police and half by fire. So if that position, in essence, goes back to police, we have to decide, does fire get that half back, or do you fund it all? But that's something that we bring forward once we have some of this discussion on, just on this part first.
Alvin, doesn't this more closely resemble the charter as a current standard?
Does that more closely resemble the charter? Yes. Yes, that model embraces the city manager form of government. Right. So to the degree that's what you're trying to do, yes.
Are you okay with that? This one? Robert?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Yes, it would be my recommendation. I think just because of what's involved in pros, obviously, with public safety, I think it gives you that person that is looking at the whole public safety arena, if you want to call it that, and then they can bring things forward. So you do have a little bit of separation there, but otherwise, I think those two entities are so different in some cases, and there's so much required, especially in police right now, and that they need that focus of that person, but that's all they're looking for. So I think if you're going to do the other model, you almost have to give additional resources to that public safety director for them to really be able to handle everything properly. And I don't think we have the resources to do that.
Yeah, that was one of the things that Director Turner said, that he felt like the position he was in, minus the police chief, in that position, that it was more than the director of public safety should be doing. In other words, he needed additional resources to accomplish that position.
He was the safety director who had to act as police
Right,
chief.
he really
so he
felt
didn't
like
have
that we needed a dedicated police chief. That was a position that was missing.
With the creation of the deputy city manager position, I think that, as y'all stated, take some of those duties to be looking at the overall, not that I would take the place of the public safety director, but some of those things that they do, absolutely, that I can do. So I think this falls back into place with the old model.
The last slide is it's basically one of our ordinances, officers and employees, section 2-101, chief of police. Basically, since selection qualification, the chief of police shall be elected by majority vote of council. There's a tie, the mayor shall vote. I'll stop right there. I'm sure Alan will have some other comments on the rest of this ordinance, but basically one of the recommendations out of this is to remove this ordinance. It's a very old ordinance, doesn't complement the council manager form of government. And your traditional council manager form of government, which actually reports to the city manager. That is pretty much across the board, across our state. That's typical. That they're within the organizational chart to the city manager and hired by the city manager and released by the city manager and evaluated in terms of performance by the city manager. So we just thought this was relevant. You know, if we have resolutions to create this position again, then this ordinance needs to be looked upon to either be revised or removed.
Now, I would say that Jeff and I didn't necessarily discuss this part, so I wasn't prepared for that. I don't know. I hear what Jeff is saying, but I think we all agree that the police chief can be a very unique position, almost at any other department head level. So we probably need to have some of that discussion on whether that should be a position that's actually voted on by the council or not. But we didn't discuss that, so I don't really have I don't have an opinion on that, but I appreciate what Jeff says, that he's researched that, and that's how much I think, but I didn't come with an opinion on that.
I think we're hiring the city manager, and we have a deputy city manager, and we hire that city manager, and we do not need to be involved in the day-to-day selection of those. I think the city manager certainly understands if one or two or three or four or five of us, including the mayor, pick up the telephone and go, we got about 3 guys, we really think this one or this one or this one. That's an individual conversation. I don't think there's any reason in the world for us to, for the council to vote on an employee like that. So, I think the city manager is very clear. If the city manager does something that the majority of council doesn't like, what happens? So, I don't think he would hire a guy going, oh, I suggested that's not the guy you hired. And I think we ought to go, and Wendell's pointed it out, go back to the two chiefs. So.
I think that the need is clear for a police chief.
Okay.
And so as budgetary as our budgets allow us to maybe expand to a public safety director again, that should, could certainly be considered, but I think we're doing a disservice to our police department if we don't provide a chief in that position, at the very minimum. So let me ask you this, Mr. Lee Parks, at this point, we need a resolution to dissolve the public safety department. So we talked about that, because even though it wasn't technically created, it has been in operation. So how would we proceed forward with that?
I think you do something very simple, just so the transactions in the corporation are clear and apparent in the record, that you would pass a simple resolution sort of abolishing the public safety department to the degree that it exists. You make it clear that any references to the public safety department, any of the records would now refer to the Statesboro Police Department. You recognize that the police department is a department of the city, and that the chief of police is a department head, as contemplated by the charter. And I would recommend that you amend that old ordinance, which I think is a holdover from the city administrator times, to reflect that chief of police is a department head and serves, and then you just adopt an organizational chart. You don't have to get real technical about it. You're just like, he's a department head like any other department head. And then you have your personnel policy that governs everything, and you have your charter that governs everything. So I think you adopt a fairly straightforward resolution that abolishes Department of Public Safety, adopts a organizational chart, and remove that ordinance there. And that should clear it up.
And you'd also add on, I guess, a resolution to actually create the police chief position as well, too.
That's right. Designate the police chief a department head and have an organizational chart identified. That's correct. And maybe recognizing the fire chief as department head. You need to do that also.
I think that would be appropriate.
Before we pass such a resolution, wouldn't we have to have a description of the police chief in front of us?
You have a job description or something like that, but just to make the corporate structure clear, that I think that would be what the resolution does, and then.
Well, what I'm getting at is, I guess, can't we just right now direct Jeff to take care of all that stuff and then present it to us at the next meeting, or don't we vote on it all?
Yeah, that's correct.
I mean, since none of it's actually in writing here right now.
Right.
Correct.
Okay. So I'll move to direct HR Director Jeff Grant to move in the direction of a police chief form of whatever. As opposed to a public safety director, move back to the police chief form of model.
So, I don't know if we have to necessarily move to do that. You can just go ahead and wrap that up, and we'll bring it at the next meeting as well.
We're making a motion to direct Jeff to do that.
Okay. Any discussion? All in favor, please state by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay.
And we'll, I didn't get an opportunity to look at the grades and all, but I do want to look at those closely, and we'll get that just like we do with the, when we talk about compensation.
That's correct.
Grades and all. So,
Okay, agenda item 12 is discussion on elected official retirement benefits. It's my understanding that Councilman Brett had some suggestions or some things he wanted to be done as it regards elected official retirement benefits, so I'm going to defer to Councilman Brett to see what he wants, what he's suggesting.
In approximately 20 years, this legislation will be relevant to me, I guess. So I was just looking at it before, kind of made a list of things with Robert to talk about kind of before January 1st, and one of the things I asked Robert to look at was, Robert, would you mind us looking into the benefit multiplier for elected officials, kind of comparing that, what can we do? And at that time, Jeff let me know that there's an official process to go through, which is a request. Robert said, yeah, let's look at it, so that was kind of where we were. The next thing was I asked Jeff, does anyone do any other models that says that, as things change, it goes back? Right now, this is defined. Right now, city officials that are no longer city officials receive whatever the benefit was when they're on their last day of being an elected official. There is nothing that carries forward. So if all of a sudden tomorrow, today, we were to decide to do something, it would not affect Frank Parker and Corey Andrews and Jack Williams, any of the guys that are previous. And I asked him to at least look at that as well, to give me his opinion. Not even like to do it, just, hey, is this something that makes sense, or this doesn't make sense? And that's where we are. So if you want to kind of tell us what you found out, or explain what we have, and we can kind of go from there.
Sure. The first thing is, we'll say we have to do a cost study with the Georgia Municipal Association, and basically.
I think for the purposes, Jeff, just to be clear,
Sure.
what the request was to take the multiplier, so folks know what you're talking about.
Sure.
Right now, a city council person or elected official gets $35, correct?
That is correct.
$35 per month for every year that they've served.
Correct, for every year
So on a
service.
monthly payment, so if you serve 4 years, that would be $140 a month.
Correct.
Every month you would get in retirement once you hit retirement age. Or to make it super simple, if you serve 10 years, you get $350 a month
Correct.
for every year that you serve as an elected official once you were able to access that retirement benefit.
That's correct.
So the request was to increase that by some amount.
Correct.
And what was that request to increase it by?
The request was for, I believe, between $5 and that was basically 35 to 40.
So you go from $350 a month if you serve 10 years to $400 a month.
Correct.
Okay. I just want to, because when you talk about cost, benefit, and all this, if people don't know in context to what, so, okay.
No, that makes perfect sense. And in order to do that, Georgia Municipal Association requires you to do a cost study, basically, to see what type of impact that would actually have on the plan, whether it's small or big, required of you. We did that study, came back, and in a nutshell, it said that it would have a 2% impact on the overall plan. So, for example, we put in about 0.02%. Sorry, 0. That's correct. Sorry, 0.02%, and that's what you see before you. I laid a copy of it in front of each of you, which equates out to about $2,000 each year that's added to what we contribute to our retirement plan. It's $2,033. I highlighted it for you.
So as it regard, and that, I'm assuming, would not be retroactive to elected officials who served in the past?
It would not be retroactive, that is correct.
Because I don't think you can do that.
You cannot do that. I did speak with Alvin Leafhart, city attorney, who did look into that, and he probably speak more to it, but from a legal standpoint, we couldn't do that.
It was pretty clear when you looked at it. There was actually some opinions by the Attorney General that were directly on point with that. You can't go back, for people who've completed their service, you can't go back and raise their retirement benefit. The Attorney General's opinion was that was a gratuitous clause violation. It's right there.
And what you'll see, let me speak to that cost study one more time. What you'll see in that cost study is we went ahead and ran it for $45. So really, that's that 0.02% is based on if it went up to 45, and we only did that just to kind of be prudent in terms of just to kind of see what impact it would have. So really, the $40 would actually have a less impact, 0.02%.
So basically, the political reality is we're voting on a raise to elected officials that are currently seated. And when would this go into effect?
It would, if you were to,
When you're 65.
No.
she's talking in terms of, okay. If we were to do this, typically what we do is work with GMEMS to draft this up, and whenever you guys wanted to bring it into effect, but whenever you brought it before council and you guys approved it, that's when it would go into effect. That is correct, immediately. And it would affect everybody who is actively serving on council.
And how does that payment relate to adjoining communities and things? What is a typical per unit, per year retirement?
The average, and I have a packet here as well, a summary of plan features from GMED's, average is $25.
So we're talking about going almost double the average.
That's correct.
Okay.
Somewhere in the high range of 54, 52, or something like that. And we found a lot of similar cities in that 30 to 35 range.
That's correct.
Which is why when we first went up 6 years ago, 5 years ago.
No, it was shorter than that. I think it's 2011, I believe.
So it was raised in 2011, we're looking at raising it again in 2015?
Yeah, we raised it because Tommy Blitch is the only person that has that number.
That's correct.
Correct.
He's the only person that's under the new number that's retired.
We raised it right before you.
That's correct, before he left office.
You got a pretty good income coming in, you still got gas, stuff like that, but the employees, every time the clubs, all those employees are out of work for 3 days. And if it goes any further, then they're out. And the other clubs that have already been closed, Rudy's and Rum Runners, that have been closed, there's a lot of employees there. It's impacting a lot of people's income and things like that. I know you gotta do what you gotta do, but the main thing that is, take that in consideration. And I'm not telling you just, because I know you're not gonna do it, but we need to try to, or you need to try to, the police need to try to do it, approach it in a way that doesn't drive these kids out. And it's affecting even the of age, 21-year-olds. I've had them get in the cab with me and tell me that they don't want to go out anymore because the police are coming in and harassing them, stopping them in the plaza, stopping them walking down the street when they haven't done anything wrong. And I think this has got to, somehow it's got to be tempered back or whatever. So that's what I had to come to say to you, and I hope that you can do this and do it in such a way that the police, because I'm telling you, what, I don't know how they do the job. I really don't. God bless them, you know, and you know yourself, if you watch the news, the police seem to be under attack in this country. So I want to see them do it in a way where they become, to the young people, the good guys again, and not looked at badly. So I appreciate you listening to me, and I hope that in some way you can get something done with this.
Thank you, Mr. McCarty.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Do I have further business on the agenda? Do I have a motion to adjourn? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Meeting adjourned.